Ah!
大丈夫かい？
すいません。
Oh. Careful, careful.
これは
ダイナマイト。
As she shakes it.
キンブリーとセントラルから来た部下たち計3名、隙を見て仕留める。
おいさ。
Oh. Okay then.
仕留めるって殺すってことか。
当然だ。
殺すのには賛成できない。術を封じて情報を吐かせた方がいい。
あれが素直に吐くと思う。そうだな。だがあくまでもかもしれないだ。
疑わしいってだけで殺すのか。レイブン中将の件にしたって他にやり方が。
ブリッグズの掟を忘れるな。油断すればやられる。君のその甘さが君や仲間の命を奪うことになるかもし
Bit
れ
of
な
a
い。
reality check, but
この世界で殺さずを貫こうという考えが甘い。
でも私にもありましたよ、ああいう時期が。
私もだ。この年になっていくつかの戦いを経験するとわかる。殺すことより生かすことの方が難しいとな。
物好きな奴らですね。
ああ、だが少し羨ましくもある。
I love this.
このラサーヤナというのは
長寿を得る霊薬のことだ。
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
賢者の石のことかな。すべての金属を金に変え、老人を青年に変える。このアウレリアンとは
金を意味する。
不老不死と金についてばかりだな。
この書を書いたスカーさんのお兄さんが真の練炭術に影響を受けたからですかね。真では不死の人を誠の人、真人と呼びます。
Okay.
完全な人という意味なんですが、金も完全な金属であることから真人のことを金人と呼ぶこともあります。
完全な
Is
人
a
は
gold
金
person,
の
huh?
人か。
真に錬金術を伝えた人物は金の髪、金の瞳の不老不死の男だったからそう呼ばれるようになったとか。
へえ。
Ah.
金
Love
の
that.
髪、金の瞳なんて絵だとあるみたい。
Perceptive. Okay, so far so good, but I'm sure it can't be that. Oh.
大声して先回りしたんだ。
なぜそんな無茶を。
緊急連絡があって。緊急連絡？ブリッグズ砦に中央軍が入った。アームストロング少将もセントラルに呼び出しを食らったらしい。今砦に行くのは危険なんだ。
It's also dangerous to be in the open like
どう
this.
する？ついてこい。
どこへ行くんだ。
ここからそう遠くない場所にアスベックという村があるはずだ。
Aspec.
そこのスラムに同胞たちが身を寄せていると聞いたことがある。
キンブリーさんに怪しまれない？大丈夫大丈夫。兄さんが何とかしてくれてるから。
第3班3名。
第4班5名。
Ah. As long as he doesn't have to speak to Kimberly, he should be fine.
おいおいアルフォンス君、そこははーいだろ
う。いや、しかしこれ動きづらいよ、エドワード君。待ってよ、兄さん。
早く歩け。
どうした？
エドワード君。
俺はさっさとスカーを。
それとも狙撃手を配置するまでの時間稼ぎですか？
気づいてたのか。
これだけ周りに殺気が満ちていれば気づきます。
If anyone,
伊達にイシュバル戦を生き残ってませんよ。
Okay then.
この野郎、雪で目隠ししやがった。
Oh no. Claws. The other two guys? Yeah, see, these two are a bit more menacing. Yeah, footsteps. But did they kind of...
何も見えねえ。まあ、向こうさんも見えない。
But hold on, they can't kill the guy.
ダイナマイト。さすが鉱山。
さすが。
そんなものしけってて使い物にならんわ。
おっさん方、ダイナマイトの原料知ってっか？じゃあその硝酸アンモニウムは何でできてんのかな？
簡単だ。硝酸とアンモニア。
やれやれ血の気の多い。病み上がりで若者の相手をするのは骨が折れそうですね。
Oh. Oh. Okay. Whoa.
賢者の意志はなし。錬成時も使用不可。
殺さない覚悟。立派なポリシーです。だが、それは戦場においてつけ込まれる隙になる。今さっきの一瞬にとどめを刺しておけばよかったものを。その甘さがあなたの敗因です。
Oh, I love this score.
Kimberly のやつどこへ？
お
お。嘘だろ。おい。
おお。Oh. That blood, the detail in the blood as it was dripping.
やばい。また引っ張られて魂が向こうへ。
どうしたら？
Oh, it's gonna end. Nice.
俺たちにその鉄骨を抜けってのが一応敵なんだぞ。
頼
む。お前を殺せという命令は出てないしな。どれ？
It's gonna hurt.
でもお前それ抜いたら即大量出血であの世行きだぞ。
抜いた瞬間大出血する前に錬金術で塞げ。
Fine margins, man.
お前医療方面の錬金術の経験あるのか？
昔人体錬成しようとして一通り研究した。
キンブリさんみたいに賢者の石でもなけりゃ。
It dropped on here.
賢者の石の代わりに俺の命を使う。寿命がちょいと縮むかもしれねえけどな。
I mean, it dropped on here, but he wouldn't use it though, of course.
自分の甘さが招いた結果ならケツは自分で拭かなきゃな。
抜くぞ。
Go on, Ed.
抜いてくれ。自分の命を一種のエネルギー体と考えろ。
Oh my god. Oh yes, look at this.
魂一個分の賢者の石。思い出せ。あの時の感覚。
Whoa. Whew. Give me chills.
死んだか。
勝手に殺す。
お、成功か。
キンブリを追わねえとみんなが危ない。
Except for these two.
アホがこんな状態で戦って勝ち目ないだろうに。ん
There it is.
おっと、さあなんていらねえよ。あの変人、俺たちまで巻き添えにしやがって。そうだな。あの野郎とはこれでおさらばとするか。ああ、死なせるわけにはいかねえだろう。俺たちの命の恩人なんだから。そうだな。外へ出たら真っ先に医者を探さないと。ああ。
Okay, okay. Okay, that is some ending, isn't it? I mean, first of all, I loved how the new ending kind of transitions into the final moments of that episode. I mean, whew, that final scene is something, I mean, I think it's really quite special, and I think it's a special moment for Ed, you know, for the character of Ed. I think, you know, it's almost on the same level as him kind of bursting through that gate and reassuring Al's body that, you know, I'll come back for you. I'll come back for you. It really felt like a moment that is going to be pivotal and crucial in the end game of the series as well, because, you know, the method he utilizes here, to me, it felt like, okay, this is something I should be taking note of. This is something I should be, you know, remembering, that he was able to kind of pull himself back in through the application of this process, right? He ultimately used his life force, his own soul, and kind of made himself, or considered himself, a Philosopher's Stone that has one soul, much like how King Bradley has a Philosopher's Stone that is made up of just the one soul. And, you know, he tries to remember how it felt all that time ago inside the failed gate, inside of Gluttony, how it felt to actually use those lives in the stone that Envy provided at that moment in time. And he kind of taps into that process, that feeling, that muscle memory almost. So the two brothers are certainly against the use of the Philosopher's Stone, you know, once they do find out the truth about it, the truth about the buildup of it and the ingredients required. You see that, you know, using his own life, shortening his own life is the route he has to go down. And, you know, it's not that he's completely against killing or people getting the punishment they deserve. It's more so that he's kind of developed this informed moral compass of accountability, right? That, you know, he has no right to be judge, jury, and executioner. And a few episodes ago, you just see how much he hates Scar. But, you know, at no point is he open to actually inflicting any sort of punishment, physical punishment himself, right? He hates his guts, all of that, but he still believes in the proper channels of accountability. And of course, from certain perspectives, it might feel or seem quite naive, right? Ed's approach. And, you know, there is an argument to be made here that he's not really in a position to be lecturing a seasoned soldier such as Miles, right? Of course. But, you know, if you look at it from Miles's perspective and the two soldiers that are there as well, they've been around, they've seen some shit, they've been around a lot of death, right? And, you know, through those years and years of experiences, they've learned, I don't know, the reality of things, or they've accepted certain things as a part of life, a part of this life, a part of this job, and they've become accustomed to it. But then on the flip side, yes, Ed and Al might not have experienced death on that scale, right? Death and destruction, carnage, all of that. But they have experienced some death, and the death they have experienced has left quite a mark on them. It's been devastating experiences for them. So much so that it has shaped their philosophy, this moral compass, this informed moral compass that, you know, every life is precious and that every life is irreplaceable. Even that of people like Kimberly and Raven. You know, I was really quite surprised, but not shocked to see Ed bring that up, right? Surprised in the sense that, you know, I didn't think that name is going to come up again. But here you have Ed. You see that it's still lingering in his mind, that he thinks even that situation could have been handled a bit differently. But then, of course, you know, Miles had to remind him. And, you know, speaking of Kimberly, remember how I mentioned that you can see how Kimberly can respect people like Scar, people like Ed. He can respect their resolve, their determination to kind of stand tall and kind of stay true to their convictions. This is the thing I was speaking of. Yes, you see that Kimberly kind of takes a dig at him that, this merciful stance that you have, it's going to get you killed. It's going to be the reason for your defeat. And yeah, he was right. It does end up being the case, but I think he could respect it. He can respect it, especially to see it in motion, to see it at play, that Ed, even in this kind of situation, is standing by his stance. I think his principled approach has to be respected. I certainly admire his principled approach here, even if it got him into quite a situation. I mean, he was this close to actually just dying. And it's crazy that Kimberly left him like that, But at the end of the day, Kimberly doesn't give a shit about, important sacrifices and all that. But that's the unique thing about Kimberly, right? He can respect that. He can. But he'll still kill you, right? He's able to still kind of follow through. Listen, man, Kimberly's, I'm loving Kimberly. I really am. But then in terms of Kimberly and Ed and that, fight sequence, it's a short one. It's a quick one. Because Ed kind of gets bamboozled by the original Philosopher's Stone that Kimberly had in his possession since day one, essentially. Episode 1, I should say. Because it's not technically day one. He thought, I've cut part of that circle on one hand. I've neutralized him, right? But no, he got bamboozled. But that being said, you see that he was able to really shock and surprise Kimberly, right? In his movement. That's impressive. To do that against Kimberly, to be able to kind of catch him, by surprise like that, most impressive, right? You see that throughout these episodes, Ed is improving. You see it on the screen. And Kimberly's expressions really tell a tale at that moment. But this resolve to not kill, the stance he takes, this merciful stance, no one said it was going to be easy. And Ed himself knows that. He completely understands this, and the thing I love about this is that even though he's impaled in really quite a tough situation, I mean, really terrible and dangerous situation, of course, so much so that as he fades, right, as he passes out and he's on the brink of death, perhaps, you see that it has an immediate effect on Al as well, right? Perhaps it's a combination of the two, right? Of course, because they are linked. They've firmly established that, yes, they have this connection. But also, recently, Al's body has been kind of calling the soul back. That time is running out now for Al, and the soul and the body being separated. But yeah, there you see an immediate depiction of just how connected these two are. But yeah, he understands that his choice, his stance landed him in this situation, and he's more than ready to face the consequences, right? And I think that type of conviction is awe-inspiring, right? And these characters around him can really appreciate that, right? And you see it on display once again through these two characters, the Chimera, who I really like. It's so believable, that shift that happens. They really establish them as such almost nothing characters, people that you just kind of want to see, all right, get rid of them, take care of them, get rid of them. But no, even these characters, the moment they have the change of heart, the shift, it's not even really a change of heart. They just kind of happen to be on that side, right? Because they happen to be Chimera, and that's the only thing that they can do, right? It's that or die. Now listen, of course, Ed tells them straight up, I need someone to pull this out of me so, I kind of saved your lives. But I firmly believe, even if he wasn't in a life and death situation, he still would have helped them out in that situation. I think there's no doubt about that. Much like how he had the experience with the other two Chimera guys. And I think because of that, it has changed his perspective on that matter, right? Having that experience. And, I loved how much they kind of care for Al in that moment as he kind of tips over and face plants. That one Chimera, he's really quite concerned. He runs towards him because, Al Al did something special for them. He means quite a bit to them. So it's essentially a mix, isn't it? They realize that, okay, Kimberly does not give a shit about them. He's able to toss them aside at a moment's notice that they are expendable. And then, Ed saves their lives. And of course, they kind of return the favor and help Ed out. So, it's not as if it was all a massive price he had to pay. Some of his actions kind of come back to him. But how about that scene, right? The voice acting on display, the animation, the sound design, oof. It's a visceral experience, isn't it? You feel it. You feel it in that moment. It's not as if you're kind of left just looking at your screen and you're like, oh, that kind of sucks. No, you feel that. You feel that this person is going through immense pain and trauma, physical trauma at that moment. And I love how, a part of it is so Ed doesn't make her cry again. He cannot allow himself to die here or his journey to stop here because he knows then he's going to make her cry. But yeah, I thought it was a great scene. I think it really sells that initial shock. It almost puts us in his shoes, or as much as possible, right? Because he's shocked, and the audience is shocked. And the moment that blood starts dripping, it felt so thick and tactile. And also, that's yet another character that's been impaled, joining the ranks of Kimberly recently, Havoc, Mustang, and now you've got Ed as part of that crew. But a thing that this show or this anime has established is its grounded take on injuries, right? And the lasting impact of those injuries. Ed is going to be out for a little bit. And he certainly needs a doctor, even though they have a Philosopher's Stone. And how crazy is that? They do have a Philosopher's Stone in their possession at the moment. I'm not sure how long it's going to stay in their possession, but that is a bit of a game changer. Now, that being said, I'm not saying, that Ed and Al are going to be using it or anyone's going to be using it. Though, the moment a few people start finding out about that Philosopher's Stone, things might get a little bit interesting, for sure. But, these men, the Chimera men, they don't know alchemy, right? There's nothing they can really do about this. So they really do need to find him a doctor. And then lastly, how about some of the lore drop from Zheng through Mei Chang, essentially describing Hohenheim, right? Now the anime is explicitly telling the audience, right? It's at that point that they are expecting the audience to know about this by now, that you have it figured out. If you don't, let us just spell it out for you at this point, right? They're showing Hohenheim as this perfect person, the golden person, right? It's crazy that the whole concept of gold and the immortal person being the perfect person, all of that is coming from, or it stems from Hohenheim and his appearance, right? Golden eyes, golden hair. So I love how Hohenheim and his appearance and the things he's done has left such a lasting impact on the nation of Zheng, on the lore and history of Zheng, right? He's a part of it. And then finally, I did check out the post-credit scene from the last episode, the one I missed, unfortunately. It happens from time to time. Yeah, it's interesting that Ed, speaking of, the sizes of the Philosopher's Stone and the different forms it's able to take, and the idea of anything potentially being larger than a pebble, it's something he hopes to never see. So it's going to be really quite insane once he does find out that there is a much larger Philosopher's Stone out there, and that Philosopher's Stone is actually their father, right? The Philosopher's Stone in the form of the human Hohenheim. I mean, at this moment in time, Ed could really use his father and his abilities, right? Much like how he was able to help out Izumi-sensei in the last episode. But yeah, that is still one of the most exciting prospects of this story and this anime. Ed and Al learning about the true nature of their father, and Al getting to meet his father again as well. But yeah, I really want to see both of them come across Hohenheim, right, and really learn about his true nature and the type of person he really is, so they can kind of let go of some of these ideas. Or Ed specifically has a lot of ideas about his father, right? So yeah, episode 41 out of 64, it's getting there. So, the chances are good that I might get to see a reunion soon enough. Right then, if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access or perhaps full length, consider checking out the Patreon page and support the channel perhaps. If you are interested, check out the link in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media. Whew, okay. Thank you so much for joining me, folks. And thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 42. Until then, take it easy.